from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through? For you, 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 won't you let the light shine through? Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through?
Let's just cut that off now, shall we, and just make a start. Good evening, happy people. Hope everyone is doing well. Tonight we're just doing, it's kind of like what Steve always does, isn't it? It's just like a little impromptu stream. But tonight we are joined by a very special guest. This guy is the guy that took our idea of the Elite Champions League, ran with it, added a few algorithms into a spreadsheet, and oh my goodness, what a great job he's done. Firetog, I have thanked you on so many occasions. I want to say cheers to you tonight and welcome to the stream. How are you this evening? Well, that's a good start. Hello?
You back?
Yeah, how you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, I got knocked out of the ECL today, so yeah, all's good.
So what you're saying is we've picked a right good evening to start the Champions League.
The worst week to ask me to explain everything is the week I get knocked out. Well, almost knocked out. Still got a slim chance, but yeah.
So how tonight's going to go, we've already got the kind of usual guests all sitting waiting in the waiting room, which is great to see, so we'll get them in pretty much after we go over the rules and stuff like that. But I think that's probably a really good place to start, because we're getting to the nitty gritty now. We're 6 game weeks in. I know that you've just updated everything, so this is spot on the money as it stands just now. We've got 2 game weeks left and then we go into the knockout stages. So I know a lot of people have been DMing me all the time, and I think you've had a fair few DMs as well about what the rules are. What I'll do is I'll flick it up on screen, so hopefully everyone will be able to see it. And if you want to kind of go through how the rules are kind of set up.
Yeah, let's start off by just going to the Managers tab, just so people can see what's in there before we go onto the rules.
Okie dokie. So what, you want in the full managers list or just the front page?
Yeah, no, the Managers list, because there's some stuff in there that might be interesting to people if they haven't seen it.
We now have the managers list in front of ourselves.
There we go. So each one of these has got like hyperlinks on the team. So if you see an underline on a name, you can hover over that and go straight to that person's team on the FPL site. or you can do the same, hover over the group letter, and it'll take you straight to the group. So if you're looking in there and you want to go to group G, you could just hover over the G and it'll pop up a little link and you can go straight to group G. But what I wanted to show you is on the right of that is a list of all the chips that have been used for each manager. So if you're up against a manager and you want to see what he's already used or she's already used, then if you just scroll across, so basically wildcard 2, free hit, triple captain, and bench boost. So 54 people have used the wild card, 19 the free hit, 77 the triple captain, and 11 the bench boost. So you'll see there that you can see what's been used.
Yeah, and you'll see there the Daily Lama's not used any chips yet. So Davey P keeps battering on about all his chips are in hand. I think you'll find the Lama's the same.
Yeah, so I've used triple captain. I update that every week straight after the update of when the game updates. I basically just go on and I update that, and at the bottom it'll tell you when it was last updated. This was last updated for week 28, so we're up to date on that. So that was just to show.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Like a really good couple of additions there. I think I'm sure someone asked you to add this, didn't they?
It was suggested, I think, in Discord, yeah. Yeah,
I think Phil might have suggested that, but see, when you added that whole bit about you can basically hover above the team name and just go straight to that team on the fantasy site, that was just like a touch of class, I felt, because if you want to be sneaky, or not sneaky, but if you want to just have a look at what your opponent had the week before, that kind of gives you a starter for 6.
Yeah, unfortunately it ripples all the way through all the spreadsheets, so although we only add it to this point here, even within your group stages the hyperlinks go all the way through, so it's not just, you don't have to just go to the managers tab to see that, you can see it from the group tabs as well.
No, perfect. I think what we'll do, actually, see while we're on this managers list, because there could be people that are in, I don't know actually, I'm not on the chat just now, but there could be people that are in the chat that are kind of wondering what the hang this is. So just to kind of give a brief overview, the idea came back months ago by myself in our WhatsApp group. We decided just to call it the Elite Champions League. We managed to get our moderators, all 16 of us, and obviously Jason and Steve-O as hosts. We were kind of putting ourselves in there as first seeds. And then when you scroll down, that's when you see some of the kind of influencers that we added. So just to give you an insight, we have got both Chris and Kieran from FPL Cougars that are in there. FPL Chef, who is renowned on Twitter, really, really good. We've got Az in there, who is Fantasy Football Scout, but also on the Top Guns as well podcast. FPL Nymphrea is also in here. Block FPL, who is a kind of regular guest, I suppose, with Elite. David Munday from Fantasy Football Scout, Tom Cantle from Who Got the Assist, and then you've got Andrew from Let's Talk FPL's in there. You've got Rich Clark from the Fantasy Football Hangover and Gerard O'Reilly from the FPL Fantasy Podcast. You've got Kurt, who's an FPL Wildcat, Nathan Bacon, kind of newer kind of YouTuber, I suppose, all the way from Wales. You've got Nick Harris from Who Got the Assist. You've got Ben Crellin himself. Then you've got Jules Breach. Everyone knows who Jules Breach is, and if you don't, just have a look on BT Sport or Twitter. That's where you'll find Jules Breach. Then you've got Davey FPL, another kind of regular, Lynn FPL, who is renowned all over Twitter. And then you've got Luke Williams, also known as Disable, who joins Az on the Top Guns. Sorry about that, Fire Talk. Just thought it would be good to kind of go through. Good.
And then you've got all the rest of us down the bottom.
Yeah, that is where we all typically end up down the bottom. But yeah, so the rest of this was all made up from our Discord members. What you will see scrolling across the bottom of your screen, it'll pop up on the chat as well. I believe every so often you shall see the invite into Discord. It's free to join, and you can get into some kind of setups like this. I think we'll look at that because a lot of people have been asking what we're going to do for next year, but I think first, like what you were saying, let's have a look at the rules, shall we?
Yeah, so if you bring up the group stand-ins, I think that's probably the best place, because there are examples in there that make it easier to explain what's going on.
Oh, sorry, right, okay, so what I was thinking if we were on the rules first, just to explain what they are,
Okay,
and then,
go through
and then
them,
let
and
you
then
say...
we can do examples from the group tab, yeah.
Perfect, okay, pal, on you go, I'll let you go over it if you wish.
Yeah, so basically we've got 16 groups of 6 managers per group, and the top 2 from each group qualify for the knockout stage, which is 32 teams going into the knockout stage. So in order, obviously we got 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and then the questions have all been, well, what happens if there's a tie for first or second? So that's what the head-to-head is based on. So what we do is we look at all the teams that are tied basically for second place. So if first is tied with second, then we need to know which one comes first, because that determines which side of the draw they go into. And then if second is tied with third, or second is tied with third and fourth, then we need to do a head-to-head to determine which one of those qualify. So what we do is any team that's tied with the points of the team in second, we look at all the games that only included those teams that are tied. And if you won a match, you get 1 point. If you lose a match, you get -1. So at the end of it, we know which teams have got the best record within the group that's tied. And that we can see examples of that. So you'll see when you're going through a number, +1, 0, -1, +2, that is the count of the head-to-heads for those teams that are tied. And then if the head-to-head is tied, then the next decider is the FPL points, and it's not the FPL points within the matches of the head-to-head, because that was just two.
Are you there?
The highest points, if they're tied, they go higher in the order.
You just kind of cut off there a little bit, Firetog, or you did for me. I don't know if you did for the live stream.
Yeah, you were cutting off. You were cutting off for me a little bit too. Which bit did I cut off on?
Well, we're just going through there about the, so working out the FPL points. So basically, the FPL points is a total for when we've been playing the Elite Champions League, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. So when we started, whatever game week that was, we started obviously 7-8 game weeks ago. So for the last 8 game weeks, we've been taking the scores and adding them up and getting a total score for those games. And if you're tied in the head-to-head, then we will use the points that you've scored. At the end of it, it'll be 10 games. So the points that you've scored in the last 10 games will be used as another decider if the head-to-head is tied. Now, on the unlikely chance that you're also tied on the points, then I believe we're doing a coin toss for that, aren't we?
Well, you say a coin toss, I say a virtual wheel of fortune.
Okay, whatever you're going to do, we're going to have some way of deciding it, but it's not going to be based on any FPL stats.
No, not at all. Let's just go at just letting luck decide, shall we? So I think that's the fairest way of doing it. I think the way that you and I spoke about it and broke it down was I think that has to be the fairest way of doing it. So head-to-head points, like head-to-heads come in first. If it's still tied, then basically what your FPL points were over the course of the Elite Champions League in the group stage, and then if it's still tied after all of that, then a virtual wheel of fortune. So I think that's the best way of doing it.
It's really unlikely that's going to happen because the points are so spread. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. It might happen more when we get into the knockout stages, because 2 teams could be tied on the same points. But out of the group stages, highly unlikely.
Yeah, no, exactly. So thank you very much for that. I think what we're probably going to do is start diving into the groups themselves, and we'll start trying to see or look and see what's what.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, so let's go into we'll go into the stats one first. We'll get that out of the way, and then we can move into the group one. So the stats one's fairly straightforward.
That is us. It might have a slight delay actually for yourself.
Yeah, it's not come up yet.
But it should start appearing.
There we go. Okay, so somebody asked for some tables and some stats. So what this is the top 10 or tied for 10th managers with the highest score. So basically you see there that David's got 501 points. Interesting to see that both Brew and Vince Chapman, who've now the only two people who've actually qualified, are not in that list, which is kind of odd.
I think, do you not just find it amazing though that that's kind of how this Champions League plays out, because it's just head to head. It's just,
yeah,
you know,
it doesn't matter how many points you score,
yeah,
as long as you score more than the guy you're playing against. Yeah,
exactly. It can just throw open all roads.
exactly. So, and then what I've got on the next one here is just a sum of all the points for all the groups. So if you want to say, well, what's the most difficult group, then that would be Group F, followed by Group K in terms of points scored. I think that's Jason's group.
I was just about to say that. I think we
did say at the beginning was the group of death, and it seems to have come out that way.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah. Scored. No, definitely. Right, what we should.
So that's just there for a little extra if you want to just look at some stats and see what's going on. But so let's go on to the group stand-ins, and we will go through these in detail for each group after we've done the rules. But I just wanted to show you some examples of how the tiebreaker's working.
So I'm on the group overview now. Do you want me just to go straight to...
No, go straight to this group stand-ins tab, yeah.
Here we go. That's it starting to come through.
Still waiting on my end.
It should just come...
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right, so if you scroll down to Group D...
This is the one with Alpine at the top and then Ben Krellin at second.
Hasn't come up yet. There we go. Yeah, so this is an example of a basic head-to-head. Alpine and Krellin are both tied on 18 points. Now, Alpine's won 2 against Krellin. So Alpine's got 2, Krellin's got -2. So it's a simple head-to-head. They've already played both their games. But as you can see here, Krellin has scored 494 points, so he scored less points than Alpine, but because the games when he played Alpine he lost, he is lower in the rank than Alpine. So if it finished as this, then Alpine would go in as the winner of Group D, and Ben would go in as runner-up. So that's a basic example of a standard tie break where two teams have played each other. If you go to Group A,
that is us there.
Okay, still waiting for that to come up. On its way, it's coming. All right, so in this case, FPL Anderson and Emmanuel are both tied, but their head-to-head is 0-0. So either they drew with each other twice, but most likely Anderson won 1 and Emmanuel won 1. So they're both tied on the head-to-head. So as we mentioned, if the head-to-head is tied, then the FPL points come into play. So because FPL Anderson has scored more points than Emmanuel, he's going to go through as first and Emmanuel second. So that's just the next level of ranking once the head-to-head's tied. And as I mentioned, the tied is all based on the second position. So if you go to Group H, so we looked at first and second tides so far, which is going to determine the side of the draw they go into. But more importantly to people is if you're tied with second and you're in, at the bottom on the left.
Yeah, so this is one with Block and Simon in it, the best.
Right, exactly. So Simon and Ashir are both tied for second place. So who's going to qualify? Well, at the moment, Simon's going to qualify because he's played Ashir once and he's won and Ashir's lost. So there's your 1 and your -1. They've still got to play. So it could be 2 and -2, it could be 0 and 0. But at the moment, as it stands, Simon has got the advantage because he's already beaten Ashir once and they're tied. So that's an example of where 2 and 3 are tied. We've obviously seen 1 and 2 tied. If you go to Group F or K, whichever's easiest.
Group F's just above it, so I'll just go 2 above, yep.
I'll keep going. Yeah. So here we've got a tie 1, 2, and 3. So Jason has played But he's won 2 more than he's lost. I don't know how many he's actually played against John and Aman. But Aman's played 3 and lost 3. So that's where you see the 2-1-3. So again, it's just showing you can be tied. The head-to-head is for all the teams that are tied with the points on second place. So John's got 15. So that's where we start off. If there's a head-to-head on 15, then if it's 15, if 2 is tied, so in this case 15 points, anybody on 15 falls into the head-to-head, which happens to be position 1 and position 3. So you don't see head-to-heads on any other groups if they're not tied with the second place. So if you're tied in third and fourth, we don't care. It's only if you're tied with second that we care about working out the head-to-head. So that's an example of 1, 2, and 3 tied. And then finally, if you go to Group E, which is right above it.
Yep, that's us on it now. This is the one with Tobias.
It's not come up yet. There we go. And here's an example of 4 ties. So second place right now is tied all the way down to 5th. And you see here that Kieran's won 2 and Phil's lost 2 and Chelsea Flyer and Chris Cougars have won 1 each. So they've got games to play against each other. Obviously they've also got, Kieran could go 2 wins and be on 18 and the other guys lose. But at the moment as it stands, it's based on the head-to-head because they're all tied with the points on second.
Who said that this Champions League wasn't going to be exciting, eh?
That's an amazing group, that one.
I can't believe that group. I know Phil said it was close and Chelsea had been saying it was close, but I didn't realise it was as close as that it was actually, like the head-to-head was actually playing a factor in it. And there you go.
Yeah. And even Tobias isn't guaranteed of going through, because you get 2 more wins, those guys can tie with him, you could get knocked out on head-to-head or get knocked out on points. So yeah, that's wide open.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so that is everything I wanted to say about the rules, and hopefully that makes it clear for people who are wondering how that head-to-head's going to work.
You do realise, though, you're going to need to explain all this again in 2 game weeks' time when folk are moaning about why have they not qualified.
Well, they can play this back.
Yeah, exactly. Right, I think if you're okay with it, Fire Talk, I think
I don't know, do you want to go through and maybe we'll talk about the group stages, the knockout stages when that comes up. We'll do another one and talk about how that one works. Those rules.
Well, we can do that just now if you wish. Entirely up to you.
All right, yeah, go ahead. Go to, what group is Brew in?
Oh, I'm not sure. You might need to.
We'll go for find one with. Okay, well, I'll just talk about the colours as well. So what I've done is, if somebody cannot qualify, I've made them red. Just go back to that previous tab for me, Lama. Just go back to the group stand-ins.
I am on my way. Too much technology for a llama.
No, wrong one.
Yeah, it's coming. Hold your horses.
All right, so we didn't talk about the colours. So the blue was what we put in there originally just to show the 2 qualifying places. When a team can no longer qualify, I've made that kind of red, whatever that colour, coral, whatever. So those teams that you see, Zach and Oscar above, they can't qualify. Chris Eaton can't qualify. Now, it looks like he could because he's got 6, and you can say, well, you know what, he can get 12. But it's not possible because all the other guys have got to play each other. So when the other guys play each other, they'll score. Those guys on 12 will have to play each other. They'll score 13 or 15, and then Chris can't make 13 or 15. He can only make 12. So I've worked out all the permutations in a spreadsheet to see if they can qualify. And those that can't qualify, they go into the red color. And then you see top right there, Vince Chapman is in yellow. So Vince has already qualified. Not necessarily in first place, but he's already qualified. So the third place can't catch him, but second place could potentially catch him. So if you're qualified, you'll be in yellow. If you're out, you'll be in red. And if you're in the blue, you're actually in the qualification place, but you haven't qualified. And if you're white, you've still got a chance to qualify, but you're not in the qualification place right now.
So basically what you're saying is that if you see yourself in red tonight, we're afraid to tell you that your bubble has been burst. Oh dear.
Yeah. And I'm still white, but bordering on the pink. So if we find, just scroll up, I think Brew is the top one. Actually, Vince is, no, Yeah, Vince can't be caught. Just if you scroll up so you can see the group for Vince is in, you can just hover on that group and go straight to it. Another example of underline. So keep going, just go up there. So group L. If you just hover over that group L, you can go straight to group L.
You can, but not when I'm going via OBS for some strange reason.
Oh, okay. So is this group L?
Yeah, should be. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So if you go over to the right.
Vince will be loving this, his name up in lights.
And scroll down. So Vince is yellow. If you scroll down, there is a little table below of who's actually confirmed as qualified.
And there he is.
So if your name appears in that table, it hasn't come up for me yet. Right, so Vince is in that table, so he's guaranteed first place. So he's now in. If you go into that grid, you're guaranteed that spot. So because he's in that grid, it now takes him and it puts him into his place in the group of 32 knockout. So what is this L? Group L? If you go to the 32 knockout, the round of 32, there's both Vince and Brew of both guaranteed first place. They've automatically been put into the knockout stage by the formulas.
Yeah, they're there. Match 9
on the
and
right hand side.
yeah, match 9 and match 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as you qualify, the program automatically puts you in and slots you into the spot where you are. So those guys have already got their Group L winner and Group I winner, and obviously next week we'll have more coming in there. And then the final week, the whole thing will just fill out with the runners up on the first place. It just automatically loads. And as we were saying, might as well talk about it now. So the round of 32 is 2 game weeks. Game week 31, which is going to be interesting because that's going to be the blank game week. So those with free hits or whatever your strategy is probably got an advantage going into this if you've still got your free hit chip. So game week 31 and 32. So we take the total points minus your hits. As the comparison, so it's just basically like a head-to-head for those 2 weeks. So you're home and away, if you like, and the manager with the most points moves on to the next round. If you are tied, then I believe we said that's going to be based on the number of goals that you scored.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So I had a question there that we need to make sure we're clear on. If somebody has captained a player, does that double their number of goals?
I wouldn't say so. But
okay, we just need to be clear before we get there because we don't want any ambiguity. So
yeah,
it's number of goals regardless of whether you've captained or not.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the person's only scored a goal. I understand what the person's saying in chat. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat at the moment just because of the screens that I've got up. But in reality, they've only scored a goal. So for me, I think that's the fair way of doing it. If the person scored a goal, that's what they've scored.
Right, okay. So what we're going to do, in the unlikely, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but if 2 teams are tied, then we're going to go back through the 2 game weeks, look at all of the points and which points related to goals, add up the goals, and the team with the most goals is going to go through. If you're tied on goals as well, then we're going to go into that virtual coin toss or whatever it is that you're going to do, roulette. So that'll be done online, and that will determine who goes through. And then basically the round of 32, round 16, 8, semi-finals, final, all follow the same principle. I believe it's 2 rounds in 32, 2 in 16, 2 game weeks in 8, and I think the last 2 game weeks are just single game weeks, right? 37 and 38.
Yeah, that's correct, mate. Yeah, so semi-final and the final will just be the single game weeks. Yep.
Yep. So that's it, pretty much.
Superstar.
I don't see any questions in chat if anyone's got any issues. any questions, drop them in chat and we'll answer them as we go.
Yeah, for sure. What we'll do then, I think, so Firetog, again, thank you very much for going through it. I think if it suits you, I think going forward it would be good, and I'm not saying it would be like a Steve-O and 3-hour stream or anything like that, but I think from now on, if you and I can tic-tac and perhaps do, like, it doesn't need to be live, but it could just be a 20-minute kind of overview going forward, I think that'd be quite good.
Yeah, no, definitely. We need to, as it's got to like the business end of the thing now, we should be each week looking at who's qualified, especially when we get into the knockout rounds as well. And obviously, in 2 weeks we'll have the group stages will be finished, so we definitely need to be looking at that.
No, definitely. So I think what we'll do, if it's okay with you, is we've got the usual suspects are all sitting about waiting.
The guys on,
waiting in the waiting room.
Around to each
so we'll get
have a look at the groups.
Definitely, we'll get the guys in from the waiting room. I will flick this screen over to the lounge screen, and we'll just start interacting with chat for 5 minutes.
Go to Group A. Just go to the group so we can talk about each group. So let's do that. So as we go through, bring up the groups. So if you bring up Group A, we can have a look, and those guys can, voice their opinions on each group as we go through.
Right, lads, I've brought yous all into the Llama Lounge. A good evening. I hope we're all doing well this really good game week that everyone's just had.
Hi, Lama. Good evening.
Hello, hello.
Good evening, Lama.
Has there just been a game week?
Yeah, exactly. That was my thoughts exactly. Has there just been a game week?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hiya, Vince. How are you?
Ecstatic, mate. Ecstatic.
Did that make sense on the head-to-heads? You got any questions that you're wondering about?
All good for me.
Good.
Cool.
So let's have a look then, shall we? We'll go through group at a time, shall we? Group A to start with.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right.
So if you want to scroll over to the right, we've got somebody knocked out already, which is
Nick Harris from Who Got the Assist.
Nick Harris. He got the sisters out. Yeah, already knocked out.
What the viewers will find, and if there are a lot of the guys and girls and that will be following the Champions League anyway, so they'll already be familiar with how close it is, but I couldn't believe this when I was looking earlier about how many groups are actually as tight. But we'll go through them anyway. So yeah, Group A.
So Paulie is going to struggle. It's still possible for him to qualify. In order to do that, I've actually calculated there's going to be one team on 16 and 4 teams on 15 in order for him to qualify, and one on 14. So it's like one possibility that of the remaining 6 games in that division, that group, they've all got to come out to a certain result for Paulie to qualify. So not likely, but the other ones have all got a good chance.
Paulie, Firetog's here just to burst your bubble, pal.
No, it's fine. You might as well colour me in red now.
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. It's like bordering on pink. So yeah, you've still got a chance, but pretty damn slim.
Yeah.
We'll have a look and see who's facing who in this game week coming up. So we've got FPL Lynn up against FPL Anderson, Ian. Nick Harris, who I think we were just saying.
If she wins that, she'll go top, right? She'll go above him. So Anderson, it's crucial, and FPL Anderson wins that. If otherwise, Lynn he'll be dropping out of his qualification spot.
Yeah,
She'll go to 16.
And it would end up being me playing one of the winners, possibly.
Davey's already looking ahead. He's counting his chips as well as counting his chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got Nick. So Nick's playing One Life Soccer TV, FPL Penguin up against Polly, up against you, mate. I've not heard much from Penguin of late.
No, I think he's still doing a YouTube video, though, isn't he? Oh, am I wrong?
No, I think so. We'll need to get Penguin on. I've not spoke to him a while and I miss.
I'll just wait until he posts what team he's going to play, and then I'll do mine.
Penguin's probably going to have to win on out now. He's going to have to win the last 2 in order to qualify, most likely.
Yeah, so another tight group with just 2 games left. Let's have a look. I think this is my group, isn't it? Group B.
Yep, sure group.
So yeah, that's another tight one. I went and got bumped there off Nish. I needed to win that game, and then Nish went and beat me by 4 points. And what did I go and do? Took a -4. Yeah, good move.
Was that today?
So yeah, that's this game week's result. Nish beat me, which I knew he wasn't going to go into second place, but it's now made it a lot closer.
Yeah, so Rafi is looking pretty good there. 6 points ahead of Nish, so all he needs is a draw and he's qualified. You're looking a little pretty good, but you're probably going to have to win on out, I would think. Maybe one win and a draw will do it for you.
It's all about winning my home matches. If I win my home matches, I'm alright. Let's have a look and see who we've got. Right, so I'm playing Rafi. So I'm playing top. Great. First v second on the second class
Yeah,
game week.
that's going to be interesting. If you lose that, that's going to make the last week very interesting.
What I'll do is I'm going to jump onto Gerard's podcast and just get him to give me a 3-pointer on match 10, game week 30. He's Irish, it's a Celtic thing. I'll make it happen.
Gerard's another one of those that can mathematically make it, but highly unlikely, but it's still possible for him to make it.
Yeah.
It would have to, I think Rafi would have to end on 25. You would have to lose both of yours. He'd have to win both of his. And Nish and Jane would have to lose all of theirs. The bottom two guys would have to win out. So very unlikely, but still mathematically possible.
Yeah, you just never know. You never know. Let's jump into Group C, shall we?
Hey, Bruce says he's, can you bring Brew in?
Brew's there. I knew Brew would be hovering about. I don't know why. Might be something to do with 7-0 or something. I'm not quite sure.
I don't know, some kind of math equation he keeps battering on.
I think that was last week, guys.
This is Steve-O's group.
Right, so Steve-O is in the same boat as Paulie and I. 6 points behind and needs to win on out, and hoping that Luke loses both of his. Now Lee or Luke could win one, but he's got to one of those two at the top has to lose both of those, and Steve-O has to win both of his. But it is still mathematically possible. And as it happens, if that was the case, one of them the winner would be on 19, and there'd be 3 tied on 16. So it would come down to the head-to-head of those 3, but still mathematically possible, but unlikely.
Another group though. 16, 16, 15, 13, 10. Just nothing in it.
Yeah, Ryan on up. It's any of those. I mean, Ryan's only 1 win away from going equal top. So who does he play? Who was Ryan playing next?
He's playing Lee. Hot sauce.
Okay, so yeah, he'll be tied for. Lee won't be moving up. So yeah, it's a must win for Ryan, that one.
Let's have a look at D, shall we?
Let's do it.
This is the second group in a row where the celebs are actually doing okay at the moment. So the first 2 groups, the celebs are kind of further down the tables, but the last one and this one, they're kind of up near the top. So I think we kind of had a quick look at this earlier on. But yeah, Alpine at the top on 18 alongside Ben Krellin on 18. And then you've got Brett, it's David or Close, both on 12, Zach on 9, Oscar on 3. What you saying, Fire Talk?
Oscar's team got hacked. I don't know if people are aware of that. 2 weeks ago, so somebody who hacked his team gave him like a -116, and now he's got a team full of non-starters. I think this guy he got 2 points this week, I think. So one of his players did play, and he plays Alpine next week, so this week coming. So that's guaranteed Alpine 21 points. So in order for Brett or Malloy to qualify, it's Ben Krellin that they're going to have to catch. So if Ben loses, Ben needs to lose both of his, and Brett and Malloy have to win both of theirs. And it is actually possible for Ben to lose to be on 18, and both Brett and Malloy to be on 18. So we could have 3 of them tied for second place, but Alpine has already qualified. We just don't know whether he's qualified. I mean, I haven't put it there because it's not, but it's based on knowing that Oscar can't put out a score. But it's in theory, if Oscar managed to get his account back and played a free hit, he could get back into it, but that's not going to happen, I wouldn't have thought. So it was potentially the second spot there is still up for grabs all the way down to 4th.
Such a shame for Oscar. I mean, I remember a couple of weeks ago when you caught it, and I reached out to Oscar, but he'd already kind of reached out in general chat on Discord. Basically, just, my account's been hacked. There's nothing I can do about it. We looked at his team, and oh by God, what a state it's in. And I think this weekend, because I've just looked at the Elimination League, and he's rock bottom of that. Or one of the leagues that I looked at, he was rock bottom of that with something like 2 points.
Yeah, he got 2 points this week.
Yeah, I just thought, such a shame for him. But he's kind of like, there's nothing he can do. He doesn't know. Obviously, the person that's hacked it's changed his password, so there's no way that he can get back in. So unfortunately for this group, it kind of is what it is, you know. So for here on out, or the next 2 games, you're kind of getting 3 points, or you have been the last 2 weeks as well, you know. So
yeah, the only one that kind of lost out on there was Brett, because Oscar was doing badly anyway, but he did beat Brett in game week 1, I think. So, but we can't go back and change that now. It is what it is. It's the way the draw came out, and you know, it's unfortunately got hacked. But that's it. Yeah.
Group E, Mr. Phil, the croupier. It's Group.
So, I think,
Oh, this is the big one. They're playing
is
me.
Brew still back? Are you back in, Brew? I see you've messaged again.
Yeah, Brew's in. He's back in.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is Phil's group, and we had Boona and Davey on last week talking about their kind of head-to-head rivalry. There's a little one now going on between Chelsea Flyer and Phil, believe it or not. And then when you look at this group, and I know you spoke about it, but I'm happy for you to go back on it again.
Yeah, so Chris, as we mentioned, Chris can't qualify because he would need 2 wins to get onto 12, while 2nd to 5th are all playing each other. So they're going to get wins and draws and put them on 13 or 15 or whatever. So yeah, Chris is gone out, even though it looks like he could still qualify. But second to, well, even Tobias is fairly safe because obviously just 1 point and he's qualified. But they're on down. Amazing.
Yeah, I think with this group, I want to have a quick look and see who's playing who, because I think Chelsea Flyer was playing Phil this weekend.
No, they're playing each of the Cougars. So Phil and Chelsea Flyer are playing one of each of Kieran and Chris.
Yeah, no, sorry, what I was meaning, Vince, was that they played each other game week 28, and Chelsea beat them. Chelsea Flyer beat Phil.
Yeah, this week. Yeah, this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you say rightly, Vince, next game week they're playing both the Cougars. And then the last one fills up against Kieran. Yeah, I think that one's going to go right down to the wire.
Well, the banter's going off, really is going off in Discord between these guys, and now they're pulling me in as well. I'm through already, and I'll be playing one of the qualifiers in second.
So you are, that's right. So you're up against someone in this group.
Yeah, whoever comes second.
Who you wanting to face off in the last 32,
well,
Vince?
Phil was always saying that he was going to play me and save a spot or get in there because he's definitely going to be there. And now Chelsea's saying, "Oh, Phil's easy," because he's beaten him twice, and he's saying he's dead food. And now I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe Chelsea or Phil, to be honest.
You're not that fussed.
I'm not fussed, to be fair. Yeah.
You'll take them out
Phil's
anyway.
Definitely a disadvantage with his -2 there. I mean, if he wins 2, and then the other guys win 2, then likely is he won't be going through. But
And
it
he'll
depends,
have
depends what the head-to-head is with because you've got 4 head-to-heads going on here at the moment. Whereas if there's just 2 tied, it's just the head-to-head of those 2. So potentially he could have beaten the other ones, but on -2, you would assume that he's at a disadvantage.
Okay.
What a crazy group that is.
Incredible.
Right, we'll go on to the group of death now, shall we? This is Jason's group. And the top 3 are all on 15 points. So Jason, John Harris and Aman Dillon all on 15 points. Kieran, Keyboy sitting there on 12. Az from Fantasy Football Scout and also Top Guns is on 12. And I don't know about you guys in the lounge alongside me now, but I was not expecting Marlon Moore Double M to end up bottom of that group when this was put
it was
together.
the group of death, so, I think he's dropped down on his points, hasn't he? 401, so yeah, his points total's pretty bad for the last 8 weeks. I've
not really heard or seen much of Marlon, to be honest, because he was quite lively a few weeks ago, and then of late not really heard much. But yeah, another group. How do you see this one going?
Well, looking at Az's 5th place is only 3 points off. It really depends. Az needs to win on out, but he could easily knock Jason or John off of that, depending on who's playing who. Kieran and Az are definitely not out of it. What's the
That's what I was just going to look, yeah. So Jason's up against Keyboy, which is interesting. Az is up against Marlon Moore, and Aman Dillon's up against John Harris. So that could decide it in itself, those matches. And then in the last week, Jason's up against Az, Kieran, Keyboy's up against Aman Dillon, and then Marlon Moore's up against John Harris. But this next game week could decide it.
It's going to be huge, especially if Jason and who else was top on that?
Aman Dillon.
Yes, if
John.
Jason or Aman or any of those guys, or John. Well, Aman's playing John, right? So one of them's going to shoot ahead by 3. If those guys win, then that really cements their place, because the other guys are going to be chasing.
The last 2 groups are crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this time next week. See what that looks like.
Right, we're in Group G now. This is Joel Breach's group. Well, you know what I mean. It's Resi Desi's group, but Joel Breach is in it.
It's the one we all look for.
So we've got Jordan's there at the top of the group on 15 points, with Rakesh there on 13, I think. He was in here earlier. I don't know if he's muted or whatever, but I think he was here. Resi Desi sitting there on 12. Jules herself is on 11. Abdul on 10. Sam on 9. That's a group that's got all
Sam
to play
can still
for.
qualify. I worked it out that if Jordan gets to 18, I got Resi on 15, and Sam can tie with Resi on 15. So he needs to win out, but it is mathematically possible for Sam still to make it. Unlikely, but it's 13 points. It's not the other ones. Some of the other ones are 6 points behind, but this one he's 4 points behind. So he needs to win out, and just hope the other matches go his way. It's still possible, but this one, there are not many groups where 6th place is still in there with a chance, and this is one of those.
Madness. The whole thing's mad.
Only 6 points covering from first to last. This one.
Right, we're now into Block's group. I don't know if Block's in the chat. He said he might pop in. So this one... Is he in the chat? Yeah, cool. So yeah, Block's sitting there on the top on 18 points with Simon the Best, who is probably also in the chat, I would hope, on 15 points, but he's joint on 15 with Ashir. And then you've got Show Me the Money on 12, Gotham's on 12, and Statman, unfortunately...
Crazy, 0.
I can't believe he's got no points.
That's
8
hard
games.
to do, surely.
Yeah, 8 games and not win a single one.
I'm going to need to... I'm sure I read somewhere earlier about getting him an elite wooden spoon. I think I might pay that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I can't believe... I can't get my head around that. We've played how many games now? And he's got 0 points?
8, yeah.
Jeez, I'll pay the postage
Lama,
to... Yeah, hello.
Can we get you a wooden spoon for the moderator league?
I think you'll find I'm no longer bottom of the moderator league anymore. But yeah, we can get wooden spoons, hand them out.
Yep, so as Block just points out there, he just needs to win one more and he's guaranteed. Well, are you guaranteed? If the other two go up against 21, depends whether Simon and Ashir are playing each other, because they could both go on a 21 as well.
Let's have a
So
look.
just have a look at Maybe
Let's have
Block's
a look.
playing one of those guys.
Yeah, so first plays second. Block's playing Simon on next week.
Right.
Uh,
And then he's playing Guatem. So, yeah, it's not cut and dry.
it's looking good though.
He's in a pretty good shape.
Another stellar season for good old Blocker. What group was that? Group H. The Group I. Right. I think
So this is weird.
someone in
Have you
someone in the lounge will probably pipe up at this moment in time because it's one of the sole reasons why he joined the lounge this evening. So this will be Brew's group with Nymphria in it, Shane or Anfield Express, Dereko's here, Adam France is in it, and Boss It Like Declan or Jake Bull is also here. Talk us through it, Firetog, and then we'll need to get Brew to chip in.
Yeah, so Nymphria's out, even though it looks like she can still make it, but Jake and Adam still have to play each other, and I think from the way it works out with all the numbers, she has to win both of hers, and I think she can get to 12, but Jake and Adam would still have to play each other, and they would both be on 11 and 12, so yeah, she can't mathematically make it. It's just like one combination where she was close and then it doesn't work out. So, and obviously Brew is way ahead, and as we looked at Vince earlier, Brew's already through. If you go down, he's already in the group, the qualified box below in first place. So he's already gone through into the 32.
So how did you manage it, Brew? Talk us through it. Give us your tips.
A lot of lucky game weeks. If you look at the previous history, I've won by 1 point quite a few times.
Well, if you look at your
I had a
score,
shocker.
you haven't even got into the top 10 of, of the guys with the score. So yeah, that's head to head and how it works out.
I had a shocker this game week, but still managed to win as Dereker got 16 points.
Oh my god!
What? I've just noticed that. You got 26 points and won.
Yeah, I did.
Jeez.
And I'm hoping that Simon Bellamy goes through in his group, as he's already used his free hit and it'll be game week 31, and I still have my chip.
Yeah, that's going to be crucial. That first game week of the knockout, 31.
Do you like how I timed it?
Perfect. Did you know at that point?
I'll just say yes.
Yeah, well,
No, another tight group though. I'm just going to quickly. So you've got Shane's up against Brew, Nymphria up against Dereko, Jake Bull up against Adam France, and then the last week, Brew faces off Nymphria, Shane up against Jake, and Adam France against Dereko.
I'm just hoping to have a 10-0 season in it.
But yeah, I think you've already said it, Firetog, so Dereko, Jake and Shane are all still in this, and Adam as well. So,
yeah,
they're
all fighting for that second spot.
Fighting for second spot while Brew just sits and has his popcorn and puts his feet up and decides what he's going to do in game week 31.
With that free hit, definitely.
Group J then, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, we've been told to skip over this one.
Who said that? Alright, yeah, no. Who was it that said it? Was it FPL Tips? Was it Stein? Or was it Matt?
Oh no, I thought this was Bruno's group, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we're saving the best to last.
Oh, excellent. Sorry.
Yes.
Talk us through this one, Firetog, because I
one's
didn't realise
interesting,
3
yeah.
people have already been knocked out.
Well, today, I think it was going into today, I think Harry and Stein could still qualify, but obviously they must have lost today. So yeah, it's down to 3 now, and David's only 3 points behind the 2 leaders, so anything can happen on those 2. He's got to win up. He's got to win out, you would imagine. But can still. I think David doesn't play either of them, but I think David Monday doesn't play either of those 2 in second and third. But I think second and third play each other.
Let's have a look, shall we?
But I think those 2 play each other, so that would be crucial. He'd have to beat. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but we call him Keo. He'd have to beat Keo in order to have a chance.
Yeah, so you got David Mondays up against Stein, and the other David's up against FPL Tips. And then Stein plays Tips in the last game week, or the last round if you like, game week 30. Yeah, you're right, David doesn't play them.
So isn't it Stahl against Keo that's the important one there? The last game, match 10.
Yeah, yep, you're spot on.
That's second and third tied, right?
Yep. Oh well.
So that's going to come down right down to that one. In theory, Keo could win and David could lose next week and it would all be over. But yeah, that one's pretty much cut and dry compared to the others.
That was Group J, wasn't it?
It was.
Let's go to K then. This is Buna's group. You'll be loving this. I'll let you talk through it, Firedog.
Bring it up.
Wait, did Boone actually win this week?
No.
I think
he
did.
did.
He did. Yeah, he's got like 50 something points, didn't he? It didn't really matter because he was already out. He was out last week.
Go and just repeat that for us, Firetog.
Just play it back, to snap it.
I'm sure you said something along the lines of Buna is out.
I think that's
solid
right.
6 points.
Oh, Buna. Dearie dear.
Talk about kicking a man when he's down.
Yeah.
The thing is that
I'll do that. I'll have that job, please.
Davy P's right in there. But no, to be fair to Buna, he did have a really good free hit week. I'll give him his due on that. But it's another chip he's used. So we'll see how this works out.
But if you look at his score, he's got 455. I think, didn't we say Brew was on 474 or something? So he's 20 points behind.
473, yeah.
473, yeah, and so 18 points behind you, and Bruno's out, and you're,
unbeaten, yes.
Yeah, crazy. So it's just the way the matchups fall.
But still a close group. This.
Irrelevant.
Still a close
yeah,
group.
So Daksha can qualify, but in order for him to qualify, Patrick would have to be on 18, and then Ray, Tom, Gary, and Daksha would all have to be tied on 15, and Boona would have to win both of his games. Daksha would have to win both of his, and then Gary would have to win the second game, and Patrick the first. So that would be like there's one permutation where Daksha can actually qualify. Well, he's not even guaranteed to qualify, but he would be tied with second to fifth. And then it would come down to head-to-head on points, which I haven't gone into looking at that level of detail, but he can still make it. Highly unlikely.
Let's see who's playing who then, shall we? Because this is another one of those tight groups. Everyone will be wanting.
No, I'm playing Boona this week.
You are, Harbour Boy. You are. Looking forward to it.
He's promised to take lots of hits.
To be fair, the last time he had a massive rank rise, and I was just watching Vince how I said that there, he did take a -12 the week after. So you never know, Harbour Boy. Could be in your favour.
It would do nicely.
Tom Cantel's up against Patrick, Ray Joyce.
Right, so that's tied first and third, but they're both tied for first, both on 15 points, right? So that's a crucial one for those, because the winner of that's pretty much through, you would think. And then who's Ray playing? Oh, Ray's playing Daxter.
Yeah, but Harbour Boy, who's in with us here in the lounge, is up against Ray Joyce in the last game.
That's the all New Zealand playoff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you've got to win that one, otherwise, because he's already gone 15, right? You've got to catch him up by 3, so you got to win that one.
So a New Zealand showdown.
You're probably going to have to win on out.
Be looking forward to looking at that, Harbour Boy. Hope you're picking a decent team.
I'll do my best.
Good man, good man. Right, group.
That one's probably going to be tied on. Second place is going to be tied on 18. You would imagine on that one.
Yeah, it's got like a high scoring group as well. We have good Vince with us this evening and with us in the Lama Lounge, and we're looking at Vince's group as we speak. Vince sitting there with a yellow banner around his name. When you go,
Yep.
Fire Talk, let's
So
go through
Vince
the
is
group and then
qualified.
we'll get Vince's review.
So looking at that, Vince must have gone 7 wins and a draw to get to 22. So unbeaten and qualified, and then it's pretty much open. 4 points difference between 5th and 2nd. So James can still qualify. He'll have to win on out to get to 15, and then hope that Rich Clark and Terence. Well, Rich Clark can't win, and Terence can only win one. And Andrew F. The Let's Talk FPL. So hard for James, but the other three fighting for second place between 12, 12 and 13 is very open. So that's going to be close.
Will we have a look and see who's playing who? So we have Vince, you're up against Rich Clark this week. Andrew, Let's Talk FPL's up against James Bang, who I've not heard from in a little while. Hope James is doing well. And at this point, I'll also say thank you to James, because he's given the winner of the Elite Champions League £100 worth, or dollars worth, of Bitcoin, alongside a Lama trophy and alongside some Elite FPL merch. So there's lots of prizes up for grabs for the winner. So thank you to James for that. Stas up against Terence. Yeah, all to play for in this one. But Vince, how have you done it? How have you done it? How have you qualified so easy?
Jesus, as Firetog likes to keep saying, best. But yeah, I guess it's the luck of the draw, and when I played the exact games in that sequence. So it was just a bit lucky, really. Like the James Bang one, just live on air. I think that was the week, and he had Vardy miss the penalty or something. And it was really funny, and I think I beat him by 1 point or 2 points or something like that. And a lot of them have been quite close. So a lot of it's luck, but
Yeah, look at that there. Game week match 6, you won by 2 points on 60 to 58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them was like someone just taking a -4, and I didn't do a hit.
I've noticed that, I must admit. Like this week, I don't think, to be honest, I would have been even worse off if I hadn't taken a -4 with the team. Well, put it this way, I wouldn't have had a goalkeeper for a start.
Yeah.
So I had to, well, I'm saying I had to take a -4. I did take a -4 and I got beat by 4 points. But if I hadn't done anything, I think Vish would have won by about 7 or 8, maybe, something like that. So, but I have noticed that, Vince, and I've noticed this when Firetog's been doing like the updates on it, that a lot of it does boil down to the hits that you've taken.
I mean, this week as well, I mean, I was looking quite similar to James Banks, who I was playing, and I couldn't find, we had exactly the same players, I couldn't beat him. So I brought in Jota for Jimenez on a -4. And I brought in Fernandez as well, who he already had. So it was just literally down to this Jota versus Jimenez. And Jota won out, really.
Yes, he did. That was a good move of yours. You never.
So yeah, that one I'll take credit for, because
you never phoned. You never phoned.
Move.
Yeah, you never phoned me to tell me that you were moving on Jimenez for Jota.
Oh, my bad.
I always copy what you do.
I've got 4 moves in the pipeline, so.
Yeah, send us a post-it note.
Yeah.
Cool. But no, well done, Vince. That's you qualified. Who are you looking to face off against?
Well, they're all mouthy down there, but if you're saying Chelsea flyer, but he's 2.7 million in the world, so I might just cruise through to the last 16 and take it to that.
There it is. There's the fight and talk. We knew it was in there.
Threw that one right down there.
And I'll just get it in now, Vince. No conspiracy either. You got there on merit.
Yeah. I don't do conspiracies, as Bruno knows.
Let's jump into Group M, shall we?
Yeah, my group.
Well, it's only fair that you talk through your own group, Firetog.
Well, congrats to the Don who beat me today. We went in with a 2-point difference. He had Fernandez today, and I had Jimenez and Martial. And that Fernandez goal pretty much knocked me out. So myself, Nathan Bacon, and Aussie Boy all at the bottom there on 9. and it's still possible for any one of us to qualify to get to 15, tie with the Don, but unlikely. In order for any of us to qualify, that would mean Alan loses, stays on 18, the Don loses, and Plavik loses. Plavik can win one, we'd be tied 15, 15, 15, 15, and then a 12. So highly unlikely. So it really looks like it's down to the Don and Plavik, who I believe play each other on the last week.
Yeah, let's have a look, shall we?
Week. I think that's next week. So that's a crucial game for those two guys.
There you go. There's your last 2 game weeks.
I'm expecting 4th to 6th to be pink next week.
What a crazy group.
Yeah, so they play each other match week 10. Plavik and the Don play each other, so that's going to be a big game. That's probably going to decide which one of those guys go through. It's possible that Alan could go out on 18 if Plavik wins his 2 games and the Don wins 1 next week. They'd all be tied on 18. But I would say Alan's looking in pretty good position, and it's down to that match 10 decider between those 2 guys.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't really say much more.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Do you think that the useless in these groups is because of the difference between the players and the season in general? Because it's you can't really gauge who to have in your team. There's no template, as Jason was saying the other night. I mean, so all these moves.
I think it does. I think that partly comes down to it. I mean, I think when the concept was put together, we were kind of hoping that we were going to end up with groups that were going to be close together and stuff. That was the hope, but I didn't realise it was going to be like this. If I'm being totally honest, and I think it does kind of come down to what you're saying, Vince. Because people just don't know who to pick, and some people are shipping players in and out on a weekly basis, and other people are kind of long hauling it. Like, I mean, I've had Vardy for about 3.5 months. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think if you look at everyone's, competitive, so we're all getting close to, above the weekly average. So a lot of these games are 50-50 as you go into that game.
No, but what I was trying to say is they're all totally different teams. Like, there's so many is on form, and like you say, Vardy's not on form, but you've had him in a long time. But players like Jota, someone got Sarr off the bench this week. They're quite random, and to be close together is quite.
No, yeah, totally agree, and I think a lot of it does come down to that. I mean, but you watch, Vince, you'll get loads of people shipping Sarr in this week after what he's just done, but then they've got not bad fixtures, Watford. But that's for another stream.
And they've got a game at 31, which is the blank.
Very true, very true. Well, we're getting there. Some people said this Champions League was dead easy to put together. What are you saying, Fire Talk? It's a lot of work in it, eh?
It's not much work, actually. Originally, it was a bit of work at the beginning to get this whole thing set up, but
You're
now
so
it
modest.
only takes about half an hour.
Well done.
Half an hour a week just to put the scores in, and then we're good to go. Well, when the game updates, I go through and do all the minuses. Go put in the minuses. Takes about 20 minutes, and update the chip usage. And then after the game finishes, I leave it at about half an hour for the bonus points to sort themselves out. And then I put in all the scores. It takes maybe half an hour, so it's not a big deal.
You're some man. We're in Group N.
Group N. So this is a little weird because we had 2 Phillips in Group N, and then this week one of the Phillips' name changed, and I thought he'd been hacked. He became Marek, and his team name changed to be Maria FC from Incest something or other. So I've updated it because it doesn't look like he's been hacked because it was still competitive. I just don't know what happened, why his name changed. I was searching for him in the I use livefpl.net to as I go through. I search for each team to get the score. So when I was searching for the hits, I got this team and I couldn't find it anywhere. So not sure what's going on there, but he's still he's not qualified anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that was a little weird.
Oh well then. I was going to say we could have investigated it there, because I don't know if the Discord names I think are still on the kind of like first page.
Yeah, they are. They're on the manager's page. The Discord name's still there.
But like you say, he's in red now. That only means one thing.
It would have been bad if he'd qualified and it was somebody hacked his team. We're still playing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's out, so it's not that big a deal.
So this one again's got a couple of people that can still get through. So FPL Aguero, who was kicking about at some point, don't know where he is now, on 13 points, and then Shaban's there on 12. Kurt from the Wildcats is sitting there on 15, and Matthew from is sitting there on the top on 18. So still,
yeah. So Matthew's looking strong in a good position there, because he'd basically have to lose both his games, and then Philip would have to basically win both of his to catch him. So he's in a good FPL Aguero would have to win both. So yeah, Matthew's in a good spot. Kurt, well, he needs to win. He needs to win at least one to give himself confirm that place. So yeah.
And FPL Aguero's got to be up there with 8 points, 486 points. He's got to be. I don't know if he was in the top 10, was he? Bound to be with that.
I don't know what the cutoff. I think 501 was the top. He's probably in the top 10, which is no, because there's nobody in the top 10 that has less than 16 points, I think.
Ah, okay.
So, but he's not far from being in the top 10, I would imagine.
I'm just meaning, yeah, so like what you're saying. So he's had a strong Champions League season in terms of points with 486. But yeah, just been unlucky.
Every time he's gone up against somebody, they've had a good week.
I'll have a quick check and see who's playing who. So Philip's playing the new guy, Marek. but then Philip plays Kurt, and it could come down to that.
That's the one, right? That's the big game there. The last game of the first match in match 10. That's going to be the decider for second place, you would imagine.
Wow. Another good group. Let's go to Group O, shall we?
Let's do it. 2 more to go.
Good old Dan Bull's team. Oh, I've said that and then I've just noticed his name's in red.
Yeah, Dan's got 3 points, yeah.
Jesus. Okay, let's go through it.
Alright, so... yeah, so obviously the bottom 2 can't qualify. Graham's on 9, can't get to 16, so those 2 are out. Davey FPL can still qualify, can make 17. But that's going to be tough for those 2 guys, 1 and 2 on 16. But Gabrielle's in a really good spot, 15. So a lot of win, and at least a win against. I don't know if Gabrielle's playing either of those guys, but only 1 point behind. So probably needs to win on out, but pretty good spot.
I'll just have a quick look, shall we?
Like, especially if David plays Wayne, then that helps Gabrielle.
There is a David playing Wayne.
Kernigan?
Yep.
Alright, well that falls into Gabrielle's advantage. So Gabrielle plays David next week. So if he wins that, he'll go ahead of him, because David's on 16 and Gabrielle's on 15, was that right? 15 to 16? Yeah. So if he wins that, and then the other 2 guys play each other, so that would, one of them got to lose. So yeah, Gabrielle win next week, and he might even be through with just 18 points.
And I think the other thing as well is I've know that, watching his videos, like Davey FPL's having another good season, or an okay season in terms of overall rank. And it just shows you that with this Champions League and the way that we've set it up, with it being pure head-to-head, overall rank doesn't really matter. And that's what I like about it.
And you might have had a bad start of the season, right? Your rank might be bad for the first 20 games. If it's the last 8 game weeks that count, so it doesn't really matter where your rank is.
Yeah. We'll have a talk about that in a minute, because I've got an idea in my head. You won't like it, Firetog, because it'll involve you at some point. But let's leave that one there as we look at Davy P's group. Funnily enough, Group P.
Yeah, that was intended, wasn't it?
Well, you know me. Right, on you go, Firetog. You can talk us through it, and then we'll get Davy P's insight, shall we?
Charlie on down are all out. FPL Chef is out. And Davies, you've got to win both of them just to tie with Vish. So it is possible. You could both be tied on 18. I think we'd have to have a look. I think FPL Mechanic is playing Vish, I believe.
No, I'm playing Vish this coming game week.
Right. But you have to win that one. And then who's playing?
Then Vish plays Mechanic.
Exactly. The last game, yeah. So you've got to beat Vish this week just to stay in, and then you've got to hope FPL Mechanic beats him the week after. And you've got to
then we'd be tied, is that right?
Yeah, be tied on 18.
But then would Vish not still go through because he's got a higher overall rank?
Well, it goes head
to head.
So
Vish beat me.
David, did you not listen? Did you not listen to the rules?
Yeah, it's head to head, isn't it? Yeah, so we'd be tied in the head to head.
So what are you on head to head right now? He won the first one, right? You'll play him next game week. You'll beat him. So now you'll be tied, and then it'll go down to points. So he's got a 40-point advantage on you. So you'd have to make up. Not only you have to win both of them, you have to make up another 40 points on him.
Dead easy, Davey.
Possible.
You're pretty much speechless now.
Nothing like a challenge. It's possible. Not likely. If he's going to take a -40, there you go.
No, I just might have to use one of my chips.
Thank you very, very much for running through the full Champions League. I think when we do this on a kind of like weekly basis, it probably won't be an hour. You know, we'll just be kind of flicking through, see who's qualified, who's not qualified. But then when we get to
we've already covered all the guys who are knocked out now, so it's going to come down to just basically 3 people to talk about. And then when we get into the knockout, it's going to be a lot quicker because we're down to a lot less games.
Yeah, for sure. But I think if it's okay with you, it would be good to try and do this on a weekly basis from now on.
Yeah.
You know, whether we do it live or pre-recorded, but at least get a video out there just so everyone's aware of where they're all sat. And see what head-to-head rivalry we've got going, especially when we get the last 32 decided. Because then folk will be plotting on who they're facing, trying to pin their way to the final.
Yeah, and the way it's set up, you can actually track it all the way through. So it's not like the FA Cup where it goes into a draw. The draw's already made from 32 to the final, so you'll be able to see who. If you beat one guy, you'll see who you're playing in the next round straight away. So you'll be able to start doing all that kind of planning ahead.
So just another kind of little reminder. So although you can go to Elite FPL's website, you'll be able to get the spreadsheet in there, and you can obviously have a look for it and navigate your way around. You can also do it through the new app that's available to Android users. I've looked at it on my phone, and it does work. It's not the easiest. It probably is easier on a PC, but it's just to say that you can do it. If you want to be involved next season, now Firetog, you won't like what I'm about to say.
Go on.
But next season, this is where my head's at, and because it's Discord and because we've got over 1,300 members now, we will put it out to the members the same as what we did last year, or for this one. I'm thinking we should have a European-style qualification to get into the Champions League right from game week 1. That's what my head's saying. I think the Champions League, the way we've got it set up, whether we do it the exact same or not, that's a conversation for another day. But what I'm thinking is that to have the Champions League just after Christmas, it just seemed to work, it is working, and it seems to make sense. But I think if we can do something from game week 1 up until Christmas to get you into the Champions League, I think that might be something worth going, or worth trying.
So what are you going to do? You're going to give the celebs automatic access to the Champions League?
Well, I think again, and to be fair to everyone, we'll just use it as an open forum to discuss it. I think it's good having like the influencers within the Champions League. I remember when we done the live draw with the bingo balls, it was good just finding out what celeb was in what group. So I think that adds to it.
You wouldn't want the celebs getting knocked out in the qualification.
So, and I think, and the other thing as well is once a closed like the kind of like application, if you like, to the Champions League, there was a lot of other podcasts and stuff DMing me asking to be involved in it, and unfortunately we'd already set up. So I'm hoping that going into next season we'll be able to get a lot more people involved. But I think, obviously, we closed the doors on it this season, and then there was a lot more people have obviously joined Elite and they've joined the Discord. So to get them involved in it, I think would be good. So I think if we work something out, but have a qualifier of some sort right from game week 1, I think would be good.
Well, the other thing you could think about is with extending the league size, the group size to 7 or 8, it would mean you have more matches, so you'd have to move the starting date back, but then you could still have a 32, but only the top 2 qualify, but allow another, that would bring in another 32.
Yeah, I mean,
if you added 2 more.
I know that there's guys in alongside us here in the lounge. We've got Ian's in, Harbour Boy's still here, I think. Paulie's there, Anisha's there, and Vince is there. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Oh, thank you for that.
I mean, there's so much you can do, but yeah, whatever you decide, I mean, you seem to have this really well planned and sorted at the moment.
Yeah, it's been popular. People have enjoyed it, so it won't be a bad thing opening it up to more people.
Are you saying this, Lama, because you want to start it earlier?
I just think what it is, Vince, is what I think is because there's been a lot of people wanting to get or asking how to get involved in it when it was already started. It's to try and get them involved with it right from the start. So I think like if
how about doing like a till game week 3 break, and then you do like Christmas or something.
Yeah.
So you could do it and then have 2 periods of it.
Yeah, I think like what Elite tends to do is just try and do things bigger and better. So I think if you're a member in the Discord, you'll be involved in this chat because we will be having it on what we can do to make things better for obviously going into next season, what leagues we're going to be in, and then how we're going to set up a Champions League for next season. So prize-wise, as I was saying earlier on, we're getting $100 or £100 worth of Bitcoin going to the winner of the Champions League outright, along with some merchandise from Elite FPL. You'll also get a little trophy as well, and we want photographs of that trophy being held. I don't really have much else to go on about unless has there been any questions in chat, because I've not really seen anything. I've only just flicked it on now. Have you guys seen anything, or do you want to ask anything?
I just wanted to say that I think the idea of like a qualification could be a good idea, because I wanted to be in it, but I didn't. I just found out about it like after it started.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly, and it's like examples like that if we can get something put in place for a qualifier of sorts, then yeah, that's what I'd be up for doing, definitely.
So are you thinking everyone but the celebs and influencers are qualifying for it?
Yeah. Well,
it'd probably be like Jason and Steve-O, and some people are not going to have to qualify, right? Because you don't want those guys getting knocked out in the pre-qualification.
Yeah, and I think also as well, people that do well this season, whether it's, so the top 2 already qualify.
Manchester Red just saying there, like, what's about the winner? And I'm like saying, yeah, the winner's going to qualify for the CL stage, not the qualification stage. Probably the runner-up too.
Yeah, and it's things like that. Do we add in a 3rd place as well? I don't know, just because it's so close. But there's so many different ways of doing it, and I think the only way that you can get involved in it to help make those types of decisions is to be a member in Discord, because that's what the chat will be about. We've not done any of our leagues without anyone inputting, so that it's kind of open and fair all the way along. So, no, I'm up for that though. It'll be good. We'll see where we go. So, I'm happy to round things up at that. That was a half-hour podcast that I thought we were going to have that's went on for an hour and a half. So, yeah.
Just like Steve-O.
Yeah. Fire talk. Firetog, I just want to say a massive thank you. Everyone in the stream, I've not interacted as much only because I was trying to get you visuals on the Champions League. However, we will get a watch along organised next. If you want to be in the Llama Lounge, the same as Ian, Harbour Boy, Polly, Pegasus, Anish and Vince, all you have to do is just be a member of Discord. So thank you Firetog for going through that. We'll get these pumped out now on a weekly basis, just to keep everyone up to date. Thank you for joining us this evening. Take good care of yourselves. I don't know when the lads are streaming next, but if you're on Twitter, follow Elite FPL on Twitter. Join us on the Discord that you'll have seen whizzing along the bottom of your screen or in the middle of the chat. And look forward to seeing you. Take care of yourselves. Thanks very much, guys.
Bye, guys.